Chicken and Charcoal is a cookbook written about yakitori and different kind of comfort Asian foods around East Asia. It's written by Matt Abergel, a Canadian chef who's been around masa in New York. He recently did a video for Vice about how to make katsu sando, and I recommend checking it out. He opened up Yardbird in 2011. It's a very famous modern yakitori restaurant in Hong Kong. It's well known for having very refined yakitori and a blend of Hong Kong and Japanese styling. It's definitely a unique restaurant, and I'd love to eat there one day. Abergel is definitely one of the most interesting approaches to East Asian cuisines. This is one of the best books I've seen about yakitori and East Asian comfort food. It's just a great book for beginners and even advanced users. It's very simple yet highly technical. This book was the winner of the 2019 James Beard Foundation Award, so it's a very highly praised book. I really love the look of this book. It's got a really dark, kind of earthy tone to it. The pictures just look awesome and everything's laid out so well. This is almost a coffee table book. It just looks so great and it's just nice to flip through. I think this book shines on how the recipes are laid out. This recipe goes over grilling yakitori, some other dishes, and cocktails. It mainly focuses on grilling yakitori, and it shows in pictures how to break down a chicken for every part of the yakitori recipe in this book. It's a very awesome process, and I learned a lot by reading this book on how to deal with chicken. It goes over basic equipment you might need and the basic ingredients you need for yakitori. Each recipe doesn't have that much fluff. It's not really talking too much about how this is done or how this is the most perfect thing in the whole world. It just kind of gives a good example and brief descriptions on everything. It starts off with how to prepare each yakitori, showing how to cut each piece and add it to the skewer. And it's got step-by-step pictures for everything. I'm telling you, it's so awesome just to see this. And then next it shows you how to grill it, and it shows step-by-step how to grill it on each side perfectly and the amount of time that you need for each side. And this is for every part of the chicken when you break it down. So it's just really cool to see what you can do with a whole chicken. The next section it goes over vegetables like kimchi and pickled cucumber. It goes over the best way how to do vegetables just by cutting them very thinly and using a lot of cold water to wash out any astringent flavors. And it's kind of crazy because it'll tell you to wash out some dishes for 30 minutes under cold water. So there's a lot of dedication into the flavors of this book. Next it goes into smaller dishes, which kind of goes over salads and appetizers that you might have, and then jumping into bigger dishes, which might be more of a main course, such as mushroom udon or katsu sando. It has a lot of great and creative ideas in this book. I really love just reading the recipe. Also, a highlight of each recipe is everything's in grams, so you know everything's really technical. Some people might not like this. It's not as approachable because it's not a volumetric measurement, but I think having it in grams makes it way more consistent. So I really appreciate that. The next section is kind of like toppings or basic ingredients you might need, such as tempura batter or flour used for the chicken. It's just really well put together. And my favorite section is at the end where it goes over some East Asian cocktails. I think these are so creative and fantastic. I'd love to make all of these. Overall, I just have so many great things to say about this book. One issue that I have that doesn't make it a perfect book for me is sometimes some of these recipes are impractical. Like, who's gonna butcher 4 whole chickens just to make 1 heart yakitori? I mean, it takes 4 hearts to make 1. That's insane. Unless you have access to a butcher that can just give you all the chicken heart, it might be kind of difficult. It's one of those things that might just be good for restaurants. Anyway, I love this book. It definitely deserved to win the James Beard Award of 2019. If you're really interested in yakitori or some really creative East Asian dishes, I highly recommend this book. This book doesn't have the most recipes I've ever seen on an East Asian book. Each recipe is so well thought out, has so much details on how to cook it. It just shows so much passion for each recipe, which I really can appreciate. I'm giving this book a 9 out of 10.